Hello. Good morning. Good morning to you. It's good to be back with you on this lovely day. Glad to be here. Glad to be in the land of the living. You got life in your body. Hey, you still got purpose. You still got a reason for being. And you know what? We can all work in this together. It's another great day the Lord has given to us. And we are rejoicing and being glad in it. We got our favorite counselor here with us today. And we're going to talk about some things. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing well.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are things going in your area of the world?
It's going pretty well. Busy as usual, but it's going pretty well. I've been working a lot on my health this year. Practicing much more self-care, getting some exercise in. I've changed my diet, dropped a few pounds. Just honing in on more important things, such as self-care.
I was listening to something to that on this morning. He was talking about some of the things you can do to enhance your health. Mm-hmm. He was talking about your good quality of sleep, how that affects your health. Mm-hmm. I remember listening to someone that said that people that sleep good and get the proper amount of sleep, they usually live 10 years longer than a person that does not get the proper amount of sleep. What do you think about that?
That is very true. Because I heard a physician say, not sleeping would take 10 years off your life.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. Sleep is important. Sleep affects your health. When you don't sleep, the cells in your body can't repair themselves. That's why God made us to rest and sleep at night. Mm-hmm. Because he knows that'll give your body time to rejuvenate. And every cell in your body can repair itself so that you can have healthy tissue. And healthy tissue makes healthy organs. And then your body can function the way it was designed to.
Well, what would you say to the person that's dealing with insomnia?
Mm-hmm. I would say, number one, see your primary care physician. And if that primary care physician can treat you with some medication to help you sleep, and that suffices, then that's great. But if that PCP, that primary care physician, cannot treat the issue effectively, have them to refer you to a sleep specialist.
And some people say they cannot shut their mind down at night.
Mm-hmm.
I guess really busy. Mm-hmm. So how can that affect your health as well, that you're not able to shut your mind down just thinking about this and thinking about this, how you going to work this out and put all this together?
Yes, ma'am. That sounds like anxiety. Anxiety, most of the time when you're suffering from insomnia, it's almost always associated with anxiety. Mm-hmm. Being overly concerned and worried about the cares of life. Things going on at work, things going on at home, things going on with your kids, things going on with your health. All sorts of things can cause us to worry. And as a matter of fact, insomnia is one of the symptoms of every anxiety disorder.
Wow. Does that affect your nerves and all of that in your body?
It can. It can, because what's happening, it's affecting the central nervous system. Mm-hmm. And when you are upset and you are worrying, your brain is producing neurotransmitters, and then the adrenal glands that rest on your kidneys is constantly leaking cortisol.
So when a person gets some traumatic news, such as the loss of a loved one in a car accident, and having to deal with that can be traumatic even on the mind.
It sure can. That's the first sign of grief. That anxiety is associated with the shock part of the grief, and that's the first phase of grief, because you have shock, you have denial, you have the bargaining, then you have the anger, the depression, and then finally the acceptance stage. And that's why it's called shock, because it's like immediate terror and trauma that your brain has to process. And that can cause insomnia because of the anxiety that's associated with the shock of receiving that type of news.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard one lady say when she was on drugs, she would stay away for 3 or 4 days, not eating, just up. So it's important to get that sleep, and the quality of sleep matters a lot too.
It does.
Not taking the phone to bed. You know, a person can be so attached to their phone that they'll wake up in the night and start checking out different things that are going on with the phone.
With the phone, and that's terrible. That's terrible when you break your sleep, your rest, to check to see what's going on the phone. If you don't have a sick loved one, or you don't have children outside of your home, then you don't have any reason to really break your sleep. You know, of course you can't control things that happen because of an emergency or what have you, but to break your sleep to check your phone, if it's Facebook or TikTok or any other social media source, could there be an addiction that's developing or growing?
Wow. But not getting that rest and sleep after the initial shock, sometimes staying up 3 or 4 days because of grief. How can a person actually calm themselves down or come to a calming point, accept it, and having to deal with that? I feel for anybody that have to go through that.
It depends on the nature of the death. The nature of the death will also determine how that person processes the initial news or the initial shock of losing that loved one. In tragic deaths such as homicide, suicide, accidental deaths, or the person just dies suddenly with no known illness or no record of any illness, I suggest going to see a therapist and a psychiatrist as soon as possible, so that in therapy we can process the thoughts about that shock, so that we can apply some grief interventions, some cognitive behavior therapy interventions to help your brain to process those thoughts effectively, so that you can begin to calm down. And then maybe seeing a psychiatrist too, to put you on an anti-anxiety medication to help take the edge off, to help you sleep, to help you have a better appetite. Because see, you need to grieve in a healthy manner, so that grief does not turn into what we call psychosomaticism and start affecting your physical body.
Because sometimes you will start losing a lot of weight just off of grief. If a person is not eating, definitely needs some type of intervention in that situation.
Definitely. Because if you're not eating, your body is not repairing itself, and that can lead to severe physical illness.
Wow. Let me read my thought from the little green book.
Okay.
And it says, our children are like mirrors. They reflect our attitudes in life. Our children are like mirrors. They reflect our attitudes in life. And the thought is coming from Proverbs 20 and verse 7. The just man walketh in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. So it's important what we do and what we say in the front of our children.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they're picking it up. They're like little sponges sometimes.
Yeah, we have to be very careful how we live in front of our children.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're going to mirror what they've learned from you. And whatever issues, negative behaviors, negative belief systems, and behavior patterns you've adopted from your parents before you're gonna see it in your children.
You can hear some parents say that you just like your dad or you just like your mama. Good morning. Marcella has a thought here. It is known that can be an addiction. I guess what we was talking about
Checking
earlier.
the phone.
That phone can be an addiction, and that can become unhealthy when it starts interrupting your sleep. Yeah, you just be on it all the time. You have to even think about that radiation coming from that phone. And they say that blue light, that you see before you go to sleep, it can affect your sleep quality.
It can.
It thinks it's daytime.
It can. It can, for doing that long period of times, it's proven that it can affect the melatonin production in your brain. That's the chemical that your brain leaks into your body to tell your body, okay, it's time for you to go to sleep. It can affect melatonin reproduction, just like the sun does, which is why people suffer with depression more in the fall and in the winter, because you have less sunlight, longer nights. And so the brain, these images is going in through the occipital nerve, and then it's telling the brain to leak melatonin to give you that sleepy effect or that somnolence. And in the fall and winter, when that happens, we call that seasonal affective disorder, which is a depression people suffer with in the fall and in the winter.
Wow. All right. Dealing with disappointments. You cannot allow a disappointment just to take your life over.
That's right.
Disappointments will try to take your life over.
If you let it.
If you let it. Let's talk about that. Dealing with disappointment, things that you wanted to happen and you've been waiting and look like it's not happening. If we're not careful, we can get like Sarah did. She, she tried to help God out, but we cannot help God out. Sometimes we just gotta wait it out.
We have to wait it out because He doesn't need any help from us. He does what He wants to do whenever He gets ready to, according to His will.
And not to worship that disappointment and put your life on hold. That's not going to make it come to pass. Just putting your life on hold. Worshiping that disappointment, just sitting there looking at it and not laughing, not having any fun, because it's not happening yet. But we have to still have a quality of life and just trust God for the rest.
Yes, ma'am. That's true. What we have to do is, when you're going through a disappointment, the way to prevent yourself from being focused on that disappointment is to live with some purpose. Find out what your purpose is. What are you supposed to be doing in life to make, number one, your life worthwhile and to help others in the process.
Good morning. And you're right. Find a purpose greater than ourselves. Someone said the reason that we have depression is focusing too much on ourselves. Self will get in all of our way, right in front of our eyes. We block because of self.
Yeah. Is it coming from regrets? Some past hurts? Things that we regret that we have not gotten closure for, that can lead to that depression, or sitting in those disappointments and those hurts and pains, instead of living in purpose, finding out what you're supposed to be doing in life, finding out what your assignment in life is supposed to be, and even incorporating some replacement behaviors. Find out what you like, do some self-discovery, find out some things about yourself you didn't know. What things are you good at doing, that other people may find difficult? What are you talented at? Talented in doing? What are your gifts?
And go out and live. Don't put your life on hold. Those things that bring you pleasure and happiness and joy, there are some things that will bring that to you. That'll take you out of that sense of hopelessness and depression.
That's true.
We have to put some work in sometimes. And sometimes we just, well, I won't say that I'm doing that, but just putting things on hold just because you hadn't seen what you want come to pass.
What could you be by doing that? I wonder what you would be missing out on it by doing that.
A lot. You're missing out on life. Actually, missing out on life. Sometimes we have to change our mind. And we started off, we said we were going to talk about the mind and the clarity of mind, the way the mind process information. And so how, does some people think quicker than others? Are they quick thinkers? Where other people process information slowly? What do you think?
It is. Some people may think faster on their feet than other people, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Brain fog can affect the rate of processing. Certain mental illnesses can affect the rate of processing. Also, some physical illnesses can affect the rate of processing. It's a whole lot of things that contribute to that, even genetics. You know, it depends on the person, also their life experiences. It also depends on the status of their health. All of those factors can affect the rate at which you process information.
So let's look at the brain fog. They have lots of medications and all of these things that say that help stop the brain fog. Are there just some natural things you can do, just the way you think, to clear your mind, or is this something physical?
The one thing I do suggest, if you're suffering from brain fog, you need to find out what the root cause of the brain fog is. Now, I'll say for women in my age bracket, I'm 50, between 40 and 50, you're starting to move closer to menopause. And so your hormones are going to be affected immensely, especially starting in your 40s and the closer you get to 50. And what happens with the onset of menopause or premenopause, it comes with brain fog, because now your hormones have completely been recalibrated, especially for women. You have estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Also, you have prolactin too. When those hormones get recalibrated, it can cause issues with brain fog, because guess what? When those hormones are being reduced or depleted, guess what hormone is starting to increase? Cortisol. Cortisol is a fight or flight type of hormone that gets you ready to fight or flee. And so when your adrenal glands, which are located on your kidneys, start leaking that out into your bloodstream, that can cause a lot of brain fog and slow processing, because now you may be having an onset of anxiety.
Now, what you're going to say to the men that might have brain fog, would it be their testosterone?
It could be. Their testosterone could be severely reduced. That too, also the onset of adult ADHD. And in the past, ADHD, in past research, ADHD was more diagnosed in males than it was in females. And so the first thing I'm looking at in a male is, okay, do you have anxiety, or should we test you for ADHD, more of the inattentive type? Because if it's caused by any of those syndromes, then we know that's what's causing the brain fog, more than likely.
So ADHD, whether it's biological or something in the environment going on, the food that are being eaten, is there a correction for ADHD?
It depends on how severe it is. Now, most people can tolerate a mild level of ADHD. And you remember, you do have like three types. You have the inattentive type, you have the hyperactive type, and then you have the combined type, which is just the other two put together. And it is a neurological disorder first that causes symptoms of psychiatric illness, mainly issues with not being able to focus. Person can't concentrate. They may be terribly unorganized. They may have what we call a low-grade sense of anxiety or edginess that they carry. It can affect their relationships. It can affect their ability to maintain a job or either work effectively and efficiently on their job. It's a whole lot of things that we have to look for in ADHD in order to understand how to treat it. But 9 times out of 10, if a person is experiencing brain fog, is either tied to ADHD or some type of hormonal imbalance. And yes, it is biological.
I was what I have started doing every day is deep breathing for 15 minutes every day before I get up.
Okay.
Deep breathing every day for 15 minutes before I get up. According to some of the research, that helps your blood pressure. It's supposed to help with brain fog because sometimes they say your brain is not getting enough oxygen. And it's also help with your health as far as getting the oxygen that the body might need, that we can think better. So I've started doing that. And I feel that it's helping. I feel that it's working. Just deep breathing. I'll lay there for 15 minutes before I get up. I'll inhale. And then they say you're supposed to hold it for 7 seconds when you inhale. Make sure your stomach is going in. And then when you exhale, make sure your stomach is protruding out. You blow it out for 8 seconds. You inhale and hold it for 7 seconds. Then you release it for 8 seconds. And they say that has been proven to even help with your blood pressure and brain fog and other things. Kind of clear you up and clear your mind up. Make sure you're getting enough oxygen to your brain.
Yes, ma'am. Deep breathing and relaxation exercises help with that. Getting the proper amount of sleep too. For me, when I have brain fog, it's usually because I hadn't been getting enough rest. And if I get a few nights of sleep where I go to bed early and sleep maybe 9 or 10 hours, the brain fog tends to clear up. But if it is from a neurological disorder such as ADHD, or you've got some endocrinology type or disorders with your hormones, that has to be medicated to clear up that brain fog.
Okay, Marcella says research said that deep breathing prior to getting up in the morning and praying in the morning can also reduce cortisol.
That's true.
Reduce it. So there are some natural things that we can do, and I'm appreciative of that. The natural things that we can do. But if you have a condition that needs to be treated, of course, get it treated.
Yes.
But by all means, try to do all that you can naturally while you can.
Yes, ma'am. Try your best to use some natural means, deep breathing exercises. Also, be mindful of what you eat. If you are suffering with brain fog, try your best to limit your caffeine intake. Instead of drinking 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, go down to 1. Or switch from caffeine coffee. I drink the Rise coffee, the mushroom coffee. Tastes just like coffee, just you don't have the caffeine to deal with. Be mindful of sodas, teas. Be very careful of what you eat and ingest because that can affect whether you have brain fog or not.
Don't that caffeine give you a little perk though? A little perk, a little pick me up.
It does, but if you have too much in your system, it causes your body to be at an unrest. It's harder to sleep. Then you have poor quality of sleep, or you just might have outright insomnia, which further compounds the issue. It causes even more brain fog.
And you got different research out there. I was listening to someone was saying that coffee was actually good for you, and then you look over here, they're saying coffee is not good for you. So sometimes you got to listen to your body too.
You must.
What affects your body? And your body really has a language of its own. I can tell sometimes when I get to the bathroom, when I go home, I don't think about the bathroom, but my body started telling me it's time to go to the bathroom. So your body can sense the nearness of some things that you need to do.
Yes, it does. It will tell you, even if you're not consciously aware of it at the time. Listen to your body and always be in tune with your body.
And your spirit. Listen to your spirit. Be able to discern your spirit. But taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, a lot of times we don't think how important the mind is to be able to process information correctly. But just think about it. If you, a person, develop Alzheimer's, you know, that mind is going to be affected.
It is.
You have to try to protect your mind and not allow it to go there. One thing that helped me with my mind is I quote a scripture almost every day, and that is St. John 14:27, around verse 26 also. Verse St. John 14:26.
Okay.
And it says that the Holy Ghost will bring all things to my remembrance. Now, you know, we got to speak some things over our life. That's too right. Now. That's, and it's true. We have to speak some things over our life, what we want and what we don't want. I speak that. The Holy Ghost will bring all things to my remembrance of whatsoever he has said.
He will. He will. And, you know, depending on him to help, depending on him also helps with that brain fog too. You know, trusting in him. Okay, Lord, I'm dealing with some brain fog today, so my memory ain't going to be what it should be. You know, quoting that scripture and trusting him to do that, and he will bring some things. I know it's been some days I've been so tired with brain fog and stuff, and some things I know I didn't remember. It was him making me remember it.
Yes. And we have to remember that death and life lies in the power of the tongue. And I say, I would never have Alzheimer's. I will never have dementia, because the Holy Spirit brings all things to my remembrance. I have to speak what I want to be and stand on that. And you can have what you say.
You sure can.
Some people speak healing scriptures over their bodies, over their minds, speak blessings over their families. And we need to do more of that all the time.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Yes,
we do. You know, and Alzheimer's is a degenerative brain disease where the cells literally die. And Alzheimer's disease has 4 to 5 stages. You know, each stage, in each stage, the person will do something different. That's the reason why we call it the long goodbye, because the person's personality is affected. Their way of thinking and behavior, who you once knew them to be, will diminish long before their physical body expires. And so there are treatments that they have not officially found a cure for it yet that I'm aware of, but I do know there are treatments that will slow it down so that the person can live longer and you know, be as functional as they possibly can.
Yeah, but you know, speaking the word too can alter some things.
Yes.
That help our minds. They say working puzzles and different things. Just keeping your mind sharp, not just allowing your mind to become senile, because unless you use your brain, the cells begin to die out. You have to keep those cells alive.
If you don't use it,
you lose it. By thinking it and using and reading and doing something creative to stimulate the brain. You know,
to keep it going. You know, to keep it sharp. To keep, you know, that increases clarity. You know.
Yeah. Because you want your mind clear. When your mind is not clear, you can make some wrong decisions.
Yes.
Just because your mind is not clear. The Lord has given us many prescriptions for our life in the Word of God. So really, not knowing the Word will affect our quality of life.
That's true.
It will affect our quality of life. It's just a matter of fact.
It will.
You know,
you don't know His Word.
Yeah. So being able to think for yourself, that is precious.
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever want to lose the ability to think for ourselves, or the mind to be able to think, to reason, to put two and two together and come to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have to take care of our bodies. You know, get our regular checkups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see what's going on. You know, psychiatrically, emotionally, and physically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, visit get an exam, a thorough exam with your primary care physician
Mm-hmm.
each year.
Mm-hmm.
And if they refer you to certain particular specialists to help treat certain disorders and diseases, then go with that.
Mm-hmm.
See what that treatment plan is.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, if you're not in good health, you can't have the best quality of life.
Right. Yeah. And we have to keep a check on our health. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Why is it sometimes it seems like men are less prone to go to the doctor?
Pride and fear. They feel, okay, if I go to this doctor, the doctor gonna tell me some news that I really don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. But going to the doctor will help you be in the know, and you'll be able to do something about your situation. You know, maybe they can catch the issue or the medical disease in its early stages, so that you can live longer, you know, or have a better quality of life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Talking about the brain today. Mm-hmm. Taking care of your brain. Are there any, they talk about brain foods. Mm-hmm. Are there any brain foods that you can eat that's good for the brain?
Yes. Fruits and vegetables that are high in beta carotene. Mm-hmm. And those are that'll be your colorful veggies. Like let's say your orange and reds and yellows and light green vegetables. Also, let's say get your protein in. Add some protein. You need protein for cell development, function, and maintenance. Mm-hmm. You know, cutting down on starches, things that could turn to sugar, because sugar is highly inflammatory. And I was just listening to some research that sugar getting into the brain cells can also lead to dementia or early onset Alzheimer's.
And somebody told me that the brain sits in water, that we really need to drink a lot of water, because sometimes the brain starts drying out when we don't drink enough water. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because aren't we like 80-90% water anyway?
Somewhere along there, 70 to 80% water. Mm-hmm. And the brain needs that water. Mm-hmm. And for people who don't like to drink water, sometimes you might have to flavor that water, or do something that you can drink more water. Mm-hmm. And they said we're supposed to drink half of our body weight in water. In water. So I've been trying to drink more water. And it's actually good for you. Just think about this body, how big it is, how little water we put into it sometimes. And all these cells and all of these functions got to move by water.
That's right.
It got to be cleansed out.
That's right. Don't we have a more of a buildup of toxins?
Yes.
When we don't drink water.
That's true.
Okay.
They said sometimes when you have those migraine headaches, it's because of a build-up of toxins. Mm. You got too many chemicals in your body.
Okay.
They need to be flushed out.
Okay.
And that happens with water. Mm. And alkaline water, too, is important. And also, you can eat the alkaline foods. Mm-hmm. You know, like all your green stuff. Mm-hmm. It causes the body to be alkaline. So we need to take care of our bodies and our minds. Our food affects our mind.
It does.
Let me grab this call here.
Okay.
WTWG.
Good morning. The last 10 minutes. Good morning, you and Mr. Hendricks. Mr. Hendricks, I just want to ask you a question about your job. In your group, in your counseling group, do you have a dietitian and a doctor or a nurse or something with you, or just yours an individual thing?
I have several psychiatrists that I work with. They have their own independent practices And what they do is they provide psychoeducation, and they also manage the medications of the patients that I see.
Do you have a dietitian in that group?
No, I do not have a dietitian in that group.
Well, from observation, that's an important part of life, because what happens, a lot of people have a lot of problems. Some of it psychological, I guess, because they don't eat the right food. And oftentimes, particularly so in the African American family, we oftentimes eat the food that tastes the best and not necessarily the most nutritious. So, and that has been a problem, because if you notice people who are in the health field with dietitians, my ex-wife was a certified dietitian, and so is my youngest daughter. And it makes a difference, because what you eat is what you become mostly.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, but I think that's so important. Our diet is a big hamper to our health as African Americans. Not all of us now. Some people can eat rocks and then be healthy, but some need particular diets, special diets, to be successful with their health. Because your diet contributes to your brain power, your thought pattern, your sleep pattern.
It does.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I just wanted to ask that question, and I was listening to you, and thank you for allowing me to ask those questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, dear Mr. Robert. Yeah, and it has been proven, that some of the reason our children are having ADHD is because of the diet.
I believe that.
A lot of the dyes, fast foods, and different things that they're consuming.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that. Our younger generation is not really into natural whole foods as our generation and the generation before. And what people don't understand is your medicine is in the food you eat.
Yes.
Matter of fact, the herbs in the earth and the food in the earth is what pharmaceutical companies use to help synthesize and make some of the drugs that they make to treat certain physical illnesses. And so if we're not getting the right nutrients daily, it's going to affect cell development, it's going to affect tissue development, organ development and functioning, and we're going to be sick. And I've seen a lot of children, young people, let's say anywhere from 10 years old to their late 20s. I can tell by looking at their bodies. I'm going to be honest with you. By looking at their bodies, even their hair, and tell what they're eating and not eating. Because if you don't eat what you are supposed to eat, your hair won't grow and be healthy. Your skin tone will be unhealthy. You can just tell if they're eating fruits and vegetables and protein as opposed to a bunch of carbs and junk. Because I'm wondering, and I also know that genetics plays a whole lot. But when you understand your genetics, it's certain foods you have to stay away from. Okay, I'm going to use myself for example. I know my genetics. In my family, we are top heavy. All of our weight is from the waist up to the neck. On my mom's side, they short and top heavy. On my dad's side, they real tall and top heavy. So I already knew how my body was going to be made. When you top heavy, you cannot eat a bunch of carbs all the time. Because if you look at a piece of bread or a plate of rice, you're going to gain 50 pounds right there. You have to look at your genetics and your body type. Okay, people that carry weight below their waist, from the waist all the way down in their, you can't have a lot of foods with fat in it because you have a tendency to develop cellulite. Because that's where the fat settles in your body genetically. So you have to match your body type up, look at your genetics, and then pair that to what you should be eating versus what you should not be eating.
Wow. Your body type, certain things you should be eating just because of your body shape, your body type. I remember listening to Dr. Carter, who was a natural herbalist before he passed away. He said, when you get the right foods and start eating those right foods, you can actually alter your genetics. Whereas you were inclined to have cancer because your foreparents had cancer. You start eating those right food, you can alter that you don't have to have cancer. Because sometimes some people accept it. Because my mama had cancer. I think I'm going to have cancer.
No, I'm not accepting it.
No, you don't.
Refuse.
You don't have to accept it or be fearful. Sometimes some stuff can come on you because of fear. The fear is already there.
Exactly. I watched diabetes destroy my dad's side of the family. And as I said, they're all top heavy on that side too. So I knew I couldn't be sitting around eating a bunch of potatoes, rice, grits, and everything. I couldn't do that. And what proved it is my A1C started creeping up slowly over the course of 5 years. I said, okay, here these genetics trying to kick in. So I bagged up off of that stuff, started eating right, and A1C went all the way down. Because when you know what's in your bloodline, you understand your genetics, it's just certain stuff you're not going to be able to eat all the time and freely.
And that's why you need to examine your bloodline. Sometimes to look at your grandma and your great-grand and how did they eat and how did it affect their health? How long did they live? You know, that's not predicting your lifestyle, but it's all an indication, though, of some of the things you might have to deal with.
Exactly. You know, we have to understand our background. Even the medical world does. That's why they ask you what diseases and stuff your parents and grandparents and other relatives had. Because they know behaviors are passed down. Our eating behaviors, the way we eat it, are passed down.
I remember my husband's cousin was in a bad car accident, and he had got burned, you know, a large percentage of his body. His wife got all those herbs and different things and started treating him. Do you not know most of his skin color came back from herbs and different things that she was giving him and putting on his skin?
I believe it.
Yeah. I
believe it. We have some naturopath doctors, but we don't have enough of them.
That's true. Now the medical treatment. Now I listened to Robert Kennedy and some of the others. They were saying that some of these shots was causing autism, and so I don't know of that, but you know that's what they're saying. Some of these shots was causing autism, but wasn't autism already on the scene?
It was. It was. A lot of times, autism is really genetic. Per se, it's a genetic disorder. Something happens where the chromosomes 1 through 15 are affected right after the gestational stage, and that usually is what leads to autism. That foreign substances getting into the mother's body. Yeah, I have heard of some shots too. If the mom too has been exposed to mercury, that can lead to having a child with that certain